Boker Tov, we are continuing in Megilat Esther. We are in Perek Aleph, Pasuk Zayin and Chet today. So we're describing the party of Achashverosh, and it says, Ve'ashkot b'chli zahav, he gave people to drink in golden cups, ve'chelim mikelim shonim, and different vessels. We'll explain that in a moment. Ve'yen malchut rav, and the king's wine, there was an abundance of it, keyad hamelech, like the hand of the king. Ve'ashetiyah chadat en ones, and the drinking was according to the law. We'll explain what that means. And there was no pressure. Chichen yisad hamelech, that's what the king established. Al kol rav beto, to every one of the leaders of his house. La'asot kirtzon ish va'ish, to make sure that everyone in the party, you're doing according to what they want. Let's explain. So, the Gaon of Vilna says over here that number one is v'chelim mekelim shonim, that from different cups, when they drank one time from that cup, it was golden cups that was like one-time use plastic cups that we have. So they drank one time from this cup, people took it away. Now you need another clean cup, another golden clean cup. That's the unbelievable, the amount of wealth. And v'yen malchut rav, yen malchut is expensive wine that's befitting for a king, was there for everybody. Rav, an abundance of it, an abundance for every person. Keyad hamelech, like the hand of the king. So he explains that for a king, if there's many wines, he wants to try all the wines. So they would give him many cups of wine to make sure he tries all the wine. So too, every person had amazing wine, an abundance of wine, and many selection of wine. And when he had finished one cup, another cup was given to him, and a new cup, a new golden cup. Ve'ashetiyah kadat, the drinking was according to the law, and it's according to the law of the Torah, meaning it was kosher wine, but that was a way for him to lure the Jews to come to his party. Also, kadat is, the Gemara says, because what's interesting is, when you look at the Pesukim, he doesn't talk about food. It doesn't say there was rib steaks, or it doesn't say that. It just talks about the drink. So why doesn't it talk about food? So the Gemara says, dat shel Torah, the proper way, according to the Torah, with regards to eating and drinking, is there should be more food than drink. More food than drink. Because, drinking is, you get drunk if you're just drinking. You have to eat more. The proper way is eating more than drinking, more food than drink. And therefore, the Pesukim are showing us, if there's this much drinking, all the more so how much food there was. That's what it was. There's so much that they're drinking, that means that it's such an abundance, a superabundance of food. En ones, he says something interesting here. There was no pressure in other feasts. There was a pressure when it came to drinking. What was the pressure? They didn't have that many cups. They didn't have paper cups. So one guy was drinking from a cup. The other guy was waiting for him to finish the drinking so he could use his cup to drink. Not everyone had cups. So there's no pressure. Sometimes you need the pressure to drink because you don't know when you're going to get your cup back. So here, no pressure. Everyone had their own cup. Everyone had an abundance of cups. La'asot kirtzon ish va'ish, to do like the will of every person. So the Gemara says also there's two people in Megilat Esther that are called an ish. Number one is Mordechai, ish Yehudi, Hayab Shoshana Bira, so he's called an ish. Also Haman is called ish tsar ve'oyev. So la'asot kirtzon ish ve'ish, Achashverosh at the end of the day did the will of each of the people. He first did the will of Haman. Haman wanted to kill the Jews, and therefore it went through on that path. He gave him his ring, he gave him the ability. And then at the end of the day, he did the ratzon of the ish of Mordechai, which was to overturn Haman and to kill Haman, and that Mordechai at the end, he prevailed. Also, the Gaon of Vilna says, we have to look at the unbelievable miracle that happened. Imagine, Achashverosh tells his ministers, we want to do the ratzon of every person, the will of every person. That means, even the most poorest person that was there, that was invited, he got all this wine, and he makes sure he's taken care of. Now, what happened at the party? His own wife, Vashti, that's the goyim, when they talk about things, they get drunk. Oh, my wife's more beautiful. These ladies are more beautiful. These ladies are more beautiful. And we're going to see this story later, but Achashverosh says, bring my wife out. and I'll show you she's the most beautiful. And unfortunately, bring her out without any clothing. And she didn't want to. Now, the proper way was, do the will of each person. Each person if they didn't want to drink a certain wine, don't worry, you don't have to drink it. And honest, do like the will of each person. So he should have said, let me do the will of my wife. She doesn't want to come out. Okay, it's not her will. But no. He didn't say that. He says, what? She's not coming out? And he killed her at the end. So from the unbelievable miracle was that he showed his compassion, so to speak, was every single person, you could have what you want. Don't worry, Ratzon Ish Va'ish. And the Ratzon of his own wife he didn't listen to. And he ended up killing her. That's the greatness of the miracle. The Gaon of Vilna, he was Shikor.
But you can also hear it,
His Ratzon, yeah, but his Ratzon he put second to the Ratzon of every person. Right? That's the Ratzon of every person, that's what prevailed. The Gaon of Vilna continues to say that this is talking about also the Yetzer Hara, that when a person continues to follow his animalistic ways, then you can even get to golden cups and recycle and many golden cups, etc. Yen Malchut Rav, the Gemara explains that he gave wine to each person that was older than them. Meaning, you know that older wine is more better. So the guy was 60 years old, he brought him an older wine than 60. So that he's older than him. And more meshubach. But the connection to the Yetzer Hara here is that the Gemara says, Yitzro shel Adam mitgaber alav b'chol yom. The Yetzer Hara of a person, evil inclination, is in a way one step ahead. If a person gets to a certain level, then the evil inclination now is on a higher level to try knocking him down. But let's remember, the evil inclination is a creation of Hashem. It's a creation of Hashem in order to test us, so when we pass that test, we get to a higher level. And then now the test has to be a little bit harder, so then when we pass that test, we get to even higher level. So it's a test for us. And that's the connection over here to the wine that's in a way a step ahead. He was giving wine that was better than each person. That's the Yetzer Hara that wants to be a step ahead. We have to try, getting past that test, and then he's going to get to the next test. So then when we look back at the end of our lives, like, wow, look at all these tests that I passed against the Yetzer Hara. And to end, this last pasuk of Kichen Yisad HaMelech is referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way the Gemara explains. Al Kol Rav Beton, every one of his ministers, and the Yetzer Hara is called the Rav Chovel. The Rav Chovel means the one that drives the boat. Rav Chovel, the captain of the ship, is the Rav Chovel. Sometimes it's the evil inclination that steers our life. But la'asot kirtzon ish ve'ish, to do the will of man, meaning Hashem didn't tell the Yetzer Hara to force people to sin. That's not part of the equation. Not force people to sin, but to try to lure a person to sin. And at the end of the day, it's going to be our will if we sin or not. And that's why, after 120 years, we'll get punished for us. We can't say, oh, the Yetzer Hara forced me. He never forces. He could lure you, he could show you, and you could get, but at the end of the day, it's you. And therefore, we have the will and we have the power to overcome it. We have the power to say, no, I don't want to get lured, and I want to not do that sin, and I want to veer and go to the proper way. And that's what the Chachamim say, B'derech she'adam rotzeh lelech, molichim oto. The path that a person wants to go on, Hashem will give you that path. And God forbid, if a person wants to sin, Hashem will open that path for you as well. But if you want to be righteous, it's all in your hands, and you could be righteous, and you could be on the proper path. That the Yetzer Hara never forces, tries to convince and tries to think, but we have the power. It's in our hands to be the Ratzon Ish V'ish, to go in the proper way. Have a good day, everyone, and we'll continue along Be'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. Bi Chananya ben Akasha Omer, Tzak Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot, Yisafi Yechachi Ba'alem Torom Tzah Shneimar, Adonai Hafetz Man Tzidko, Yagdil Torah ve'yadir.